Hey, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Breakaway from the Rat Race. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Amanda Holbrook. Amanda is a very experienced self-directed IRA specialist. She has years and years of experience in self-directed IRA and in real estate at the same time. So today we're going to talk about kind of how do we combine our retirement account and invest in real estate with our retirement account? Hopefully, I'm sure we're going to learn a lot about it because this thing is a black box. Even for me, I've done some investment in self-directed IRA, and I can tell you that there's a lot to uncover. Amanda is going to make it super simple, even though there's a ton of details in that. So, Amanda, welcome.
Thank you, Eric. Oh, I appreciate that flattering intro there.
I
And
always do.
I'm not going to age myself, but yes, I have been doing this a long time. Uh, Self-directed IRAs are a niche, that is for sure. But yeah, you explained it great. It's kind of like a black box. I would say Pandora's box of tools that many people don't know about
Yeah.
whatsoever. So, yeah, for those of you that are listening, and I've been doing this over 13 years, 6 years of that in the turnkey world. So, when Eric and I met, it was just like, whoa,
Yeah, it is
our,
a great,
our
definitely a great synergy, I think, to have that. And every time I talk to you, Amanda, I'm discovering a new side of self-directed IRA that I didn't know about and the complexity. But just kind of like what we do with Martel Turnkey, you also make it super simple also to work with your company, and you really walk your clients through a self-directed IRA and leverage that to invest in real estate.
Absolutely. It's keep it simple. I mean, yes, it is the
Yeah.
rev code that determines this, but it's specialized, hence our name, specialized trust company,
Hmm.
but keep it simple. You decide, you
Yeah.
deposit, you direct. So three
Yeah.
Ds, very simple. One, two, three. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how we like to keep it because this is a tool that everyone can use, not just
Yeah.
accredited investors. Yeah, you have your everyday, mom and pop diversifying into real estate, and these are the tools that they're using are self-directed. But the number one thing and that I hear on whether we're in a conversation or on a podcast or it's at an event, it's, why didn't I hear about this 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Exactly.
Why did anyone tell me? It's like the best kept secret. And it's been around since the 70s. It's nothing that's brand new or just came out in the past 5 years or last crash. It's been around a long time. But most just don't hear about it because they're over here in the what I'll call the conventional world. You get a job, you get a 401k, you pick something off a screen or what someone tells you to pick, and you buy, hope, and hold and pray it's there at the end of the day. And they don't offer, you know, self-directed IRAs, 401ks, and all that we do because, I mean, to break it simple, the number one reason is they don't profit from it. Okay, there, I said it. I said it. Money makes the world goes round. Okay, don't hate me if you're in the financial world.
Yeah, Wall Street has a big marketing machine. I mean, they are interested in having their funds invested in the stock market, obviously, and this is why a lot of these custodian of retirement accounts are actually kind of really looking to invest only in the stock market. That's basically their strategy here. Our goal on the show is really to help people achieve financial freedom and build a passive income portfolio. Once you get started, I mean, it's you can buy on your own some properties, some turnkey rental properties, and then you want to basically generate some net cash flow, positive net cash flow with that, and this is great. But in order to do this, you need some money. And some people have money in their bank accounts, but a lot of people have money in their retirement account, a 401k, SEP, and all of that. And then they don't realize that they can actually leverage that money to invest in real estate. So kind of combining that goal of investing in real estate and achieving financial freedom with retirement, with real estate.
Yeah, that is very well said. And it's always, kind of show me the money, right? You need,
Mm-hmm.
I always take it back to a game we all played growing up was Monopoly. You need cash to get those properties, right? I wanted to be on Boardwalk, wasn't Parkway.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but in real life, you need to source your funds. And most just think of, hey, if I have cash in the bank or I don't. They don't really look at the whole picture. And that's, I think, one of the value adds that we bring to the clients that we work with is, and I know your team's great at this, Eric, is you look at the
Hmm.
whole picture.
Hmm.
You're not just looking at cash in the bank, you're looking at HELOCs, home equity lines of credit, HELOCs, things of that nature, and 401ks, IRAs. Now, I'm going to throw out a statistic, okay? Because most think like, oh, I'd have to have a ton of money in a retirement account to be able to do this, Amanda. Like I'm running my, getting ready for my 10K marathon, listen to this podcast, I'm only 20 something and I don't have enough money in here. Like, yes, you do. Listen, the average 35-year-old has changed jobs at least 3 times. That means you have old employers' 401ks out there. If you were in the military, you had something called a TSP, a thrift savings plan. If you're in the medical field or education, you have 403bs. If you work for a city or government entity, 457s. These are all things. If you made transitions in your life, as we all do, as we grow, you can control these funds and how they're invested. You're the boss. You're in the driver's seat. And I think that's the number one thing that most just don't realize. It's like the qualifying question isn't there. It's like,
Hmm.
well, how are you looking to buy? Cash or finance? It's like, well, you got to ask that IRA question too. Because at the end of the day, those are your resources. Those are your funds. And if you're not in control, no one's looking out for you more than you. And I mean, that's just the society that we live in, So, and one thing I always like to say, and, you can comment on this too, is, you can't be passive about your passive investments. If you just think it's going to be there at the end of the day or from blind faith, you know, it's not. I mean, that's a wake up call, and that was a knock for those you can't see me. It wasn't a very loud knock, but
Yeah.
hello. Um, because look at the other side of the population, right? You have majority of America is comprised of the boomers, who are either about to retire or have retired, right? And to retire, or if your goals retire or get out of that W-2 job or create that cash flow, that cash flow, whatever the source, it needs to be consistent and predictable, right? So consistent and predictability is one thing, but you also need to hedge inflation. That's, here's my nerdiness coming out now, but $1 today isn't $1 tomorrow. You have to be growing more than inflation to be profitable. And here's am I allowed to share my pet peeve? Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not too bad, I hope.
No. It's not. I'll keep it PC, listeners. I promise. I promise. We are real estate professionals. Um, we are financing professionals. So one of my pet peeves I hear a lot from my boomers is, hey, I'm getting ready for retirement, or I've had the wake up call of, oh my gosh, I'm over 50 now. I need to do something. And they're like, yeah, I keep hearing about these annuities.
Oh boy.
That's like a bad, it's like the bad word, right?
Mm.
And I'll simplify, and I'm going to ask you your definition because you have a finance background too. An annuity, it gives you the sell, okay, is the consistent, predictable income, okay? But it does not hedge inflation. So if it doesn't hedge inflation, now listen to this, you are just consistently and predictably going broke slowly. That is what it does. And I had one of my kids was sick, so I had daytime television on. And guess what I kept hearing during that daytime television was, and even on kids, I had on like PBS, was annuities. They're still pushing annuities. And it's like, who's watching daytime television? So think about that.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, annuity. I mean, yeah, this is also one of my big concern. A lot of people are still considering annuity as a way to build a passive income. right? A stream of income. And it will do that, and you can actually somewhat adjust it with inflation as well. You have to do a rider with them, and they're going to adjust it with the CPI, but then your payout is going to drop down. So the typical payout for somebody that is around the age of retirement and stuff like that, it would be so you put $100,000 up there, you're going to get about 40. It's about a 4% payout that you're going to get. This is nothing. So $1 million, you're going to get like $40,000 a year in payout. If you want to have inflation protection, maybe it's going to drop down to $32,000 a year. It all depends on your age and all of that. This is really not that much for that kind of money that you're putting in place. My other issues with the annuity is that the amount of money that you're giving is $1 million, let's say, to the life insurance company, assuming it's a reputable insurance company. It's gone. This is a premium that you're paying to convert that amount into a stream of income based on your life. If you die a few months later, and your partner dies, and then that money is gone. It belongs to the life insurance company. It doesn't belong to you anymore. You paid the premium, and this is how they make money. So that's my other thing too. With the number one goal is achieving financial freedom, but my other goal, it's kind of at the same level too, is legacy, leaving a legacy for my children. So that annuity basically kind of like throws everything away. All my savings, I'm giving it to a total stranger, and then say, okay, you just pay me until I die. And so, yeah, I'll do that. And so that's what I don't like about it. When we talk about real estate, we have a better payout in terms of we probably get around 10% cash on cash return. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. But so on $1 million, you would get $100,000 a year in payout. So significantly higher, and you have all the benefits associated with that, and you still have the assets. It appreciates. You can pass it on to your children, all of that. So yeah. I'm sorry, I rambled on a little bit, but that's also, annuity is one of my pet peeve as well. So
yeah, I was gonna say we share a soft spot there.
yeah. That's why I kept going. I said, oh my God,
yeah.
There's so many more things that are wrong with it.
Yeah, it's just one of those that I hear a lot too. Yeah. And we're a passive custodian, so we don't recommend or endorse any specific investment spots. We're not attorneys and CPAs. Like that is all. But I educate so much about the vehicle, and that's just one of those that I get brought to the table all the time. And it's like, to your point, real estate is such an easy plug and play, because not only does it give you consistent, predictable income as far as cash flow, but it appreciates over time. It's a tangible investment. Mm-hmm. So your principal is never going down, and it's insured. So heaven forbid something were to happen, natural disaster. Guess where the insurance money goes when you're investing within a self-directed account? It goes right back to the self-directed account, and it's tax sheltered. So you talk about a safety net and legacy planning. I'm so glad you picked up on that, because that's one of my big ones. You have beneficiaries on all self-directed accounts. So I always joke and I say, like, only the 2 Ds apply with self-directions: death and divorce. I mean, yep. You could don't go commit a crime. You could go commit a crime, or you could have bankruptcy, and your IRA funds and your portfolio is protected. So those that went through the last crash, those that had some of their portfolio that was self-directed, they were protected, even if they had to, go through foreclosures or bankruptcies and things of that nature. So there's so many just tertiary benefits to having a self-directed vehicle. But the one I want to just really hit home for our call today is diversify. And you have to diversify. I mean, we've seen a market that I don't know that we'll see again in our lifetimes as of recent. I mean, I can throw some stats at you guys. It's like $72 trillion are out there in retirement accounts. Like 8.6 billion of that is our IRAs, which means they could be self-directed today. It's not, oh, is this with my current employer or not? And if it is, by the way, you ask about an in-service rollover. That's a little secret tip. But the point is, you can diversify while you're high, right? What do they tell you in the stock market? Same stuff in real estate: buy low, sell high, right? So if you don't want to be holding the shoulda, woulda, coulda bag when things do correct, which they will, it's always a cycle. History does repeat itself.
Happened yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, if you don't believe me, read a book,
Good,
insert title here.
good
Um,
timing.
you know, it does happen. So if you don't want to have that bit of regret, everyone always asks, how do you time the market? When do you buy? It's diversify some of it now. You can't look in a rearview mirror and sing your shoulda, woulda, couldas. It's the action steps you take today. So I'm never going to sit there and say, put all of your eggs in one basket, but you should be diversifying. And this is the way I put it. Maybe it's a little bit of analogy to how you build a house. You build your house on a solid foundation that is going to be unwavering, that is recession proof. That if you did take an unnecessary risk and it didn't quite pan out, you're okay. Like, you're covered. And that's, I think, the big one. And you guys have had, we had the opportunity to share some success stories of mutual clients. And, I think it was the same, the same outcome that we both had over the years is, we were able to help folks retire, or,
Yeah.
allow that wife to stay home and raise her kids because they had additional income streams through real estate. And, I've helped clients retire to where they were just depleting they were drawing it down. And it's like,
Hmm.
the sad part of it, I'm like, well, if you're planning on, you've got 9 years, you're going to die in 9 years, this works.
Hmm.
Otherwise, unless that day, you
Yeah.
have to plan.
Yeah.
And that's, I think one of the big things, but that's getting morbid. So we're going to back up and talk about the fun stuff again. Yes,
Yeah.
let's talk about tax-free profits.
So hopefully by this time people realize that, obviously, I think a lot of people that are listening anyway, they are already focused on real estate or achieving financial freedom. I mean, that's the idea here. But let's be a little bit more pragmatic, and talk about somebody that, I mean, we have some clients that they've reached their maximum number of houses that they can buy because of Fannie Mae, the 10 houses, 10 mortgages and stuff like that. And they're in a situation now where there's okay, what do I do now? And well, I can go into different kind of loans. I can go and buy cash. And then my team had some conversation with people. I said, hey, did you know you can use your retirement accounts, like your 401k and stuff like that? And they didn't know about that. And so that's why we started initiating a conversation with you, Amanda, and kind of like unlock all that money that they have into their 401ks and stuff like that, and see how they can leverage that. So that's only one scenario. And then you have other people too that, they're at the point now where they're boomers or Gen Xers, and they're really thinking about retiring, and how do I convert all my money that I have in my stock market, in my 401k, how do I make that into a stream of income? And so start thinking about that now, and then see and invest in something that is already going to start generating some passive income, so that it will become predictable when you get to retirement. So I think that's something that's very important. So now we have some people that are interested in, so they have their 401k money, they sold on the idea of, yeah, I want to invest in real estate, I want to invest in turnkey rentals or something like that. Amanda, how do I do that? How do I take my 401k money, my SEP money, and all of that, and how do I invest in real estate?
Yeah. So that is, that's my ninja skill right here. So it's literally, I'm sure if we're all in real estate, we all familiar with DocuSign. It's a DocuSign away. So for those of you that can see me, I'm going to try my Vanna skills. Here we are. Okay. There's my contact info. But no, it's give me a call and I'll do the work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly it. It's an application and a form, statement and ID. That's like as laborious as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
All of it's done electronically, usually within 2 weeks of getting all of that back from you. Your funds are here and they're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
It is that simple. Decide, deposit, direct. That's exactly it. So I think for most that have never moved their accounts around, or the pressure of self, and I'm using my air quotes, self directing, it's like, ooh, I don't know where to start. It's just ask. And we make it simple. We make
Yeah.
it simple. It's not expensive to do either. You're looking at typically 1% or less. Just to give you a kind of a rule of thumb. So
Mhm.
it's much, much cheaper. And I'm not going to go into like how much you actually pay for those accounts that are loaded in mutual funds and things of that nature. But self-direction is very cost efficient. If you're self-employed, you get some tax credit for small business plans. And so there really is no objection on the other end. It's just a matter, it's a conduit, it's a vehicle, right?
Yeah.
That's like someone saying, hey, I'm not a mortgage lender, but if I'm not a mortgage lender, like, why would I do financing? Well, why wouldn't you do financing? OPM, other people's money, right? We say OPI around here, other people's IRAs, but it is very, very, very,
Yeah.
very simple, simple to do. And,
Yeah.
and to
I
your
think
point,
I think part of the issue is that a lot of people, they've never created their 401k really. I mean, their employer created their 401k and then they just, okay, it's done. And then like you said, I mean, they just pick, oh, do I want to invest in this mutual fund or this mutual fund or this mutual fund? So that was kind of like the extent to which they did that. But basically, in order to invest in with your retirement account, you basically have to create a special kind of account that with a special kind of trust company, like Specialized, and then they're the custodian that they allow as part of their charter, they're able to help you with real estate investment out of your retirement account. You basically transfer your funds into that account and then you can start investing out of that.
yeah. And, going back to kind of equating, investing in property that's outside of your backyard in your retirement account, just think of your retirement account as a separate operating account. That's all. Instead of your personal name, instead of Eric Martel, it'll be Specialized Trust Company Custodian, FBO, Eric Martel's IRA. That's the only part of the process we're really changing. But instead of picking that mutual fund off your screen, I mean, I've seen your team go through their process. I mean, you essentially narrow your price point in your market and you pick the property that makes the most sense for you. It's the same thing. And I've seen the mental hurdle over the years, but if you're already seasoned in real estate, it's like, what is the difference of picking um, say a rental property in Cleveland or Memphis versus a company that's not headquartered in your backyard. You have no affiliation or relationship with the CEOs that sit around that boardroom table. So breaking down that kind of old adage mindset, um, I think has become easier over the years. I'll let you speak to that, but
Yeah.
in my conversations over the past, I would say 10, 12 years, that has become more, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think the so this is kind of like getting the entrepreneur mindset. I mean, I think a lot of people, yeah, they used to, like you mentioned, like they used to invest in the stock and they felt safe that they had a professional person, a professional CEO manage their money. And then as they gain more experience, they realize that the CEO doesn't know any more than they do. So some of them do, but some of them don't. And then you say, okay, well, and then you realize that the stock market is also is affected by all kinds of different things. And I mean, that's what happened to me in 2000 when the stock market crashed. I said, okay, well, at that point, I want to be in control of my money. And so that's why I started investing in my own business, and we tried all kinds of different businesses, and eventually went back and invested in real estate. But I'm in control. I know what's going on. If things don't go as planned, I take action to correct what's wrong, or adapt, or pivot, or whatever needs to be done in order to continue to grow, or continue to have passive income, or whatever it is. But at least you're in control, so you know what's going on and you can take action.
Yep.
So I think that's very important. And I think, yeah, I think there's more of an openness, I think, to that. Less and less people, less and less people realize. I should say, maybe more and more people realize that this is the thing that they have to do. They have to take action. They have to take control. And one of the easiest thing to invest in is, especially if you have a full-time job, is a turnkey rentals, because you don't have time to research the market. You don't have time to handle contractors and all of that. Eventually you can do all that if you're interested in that. But at the beginning, you have a full-time job, just build your turnkey rental portfolio, and use your retirement account in order to do that, your cash, your HELOC, whatever you need in order to build that passive income portfolio. Then you can focus on other things. So, and it's really, I mean, I just want to add one point here, because it is no different when you start looking at this and you build an LLC to handle your portfolio. Having a self-directed IRA is really creating just a different type of entity that is tax deferred, that you put money in, and that's going to own your real estate. So this is no different than creating an LLC. Well, it's a little bit different, but it's like creating an LLC. Creating an LLC is creating an entity. Creating a self-directed IRA is creating a separate type of a different type of entity that can also own real estate. Yep. So everything that, yeah. So I'll let you speak to that, kind of like that entity, what it can do, can't do, and kind of like any kind of differences that you see there.
Yeah, and it's the way that you look at it. It's a good way to put it. It's like a separate operating account. It's a different pool. You'll always hear me say bucket, even though it's not a professional term. But that's where you're pulling from. It's just where you source funds. And to your point, if 2020 taught us anything, it's you need to have additional, like, multiple revenue streams. If your household is it's just not replying. Let's try that again. Relying on just one income source. Yep. That is not a recipe for success, because you are not insulated. I mean, look at some of the restaurant owners, and just look around your town at some of the small shops that had to shut down, because of COVID. So if that tells you anything, that should be a motivator, to get multiple income streams going. But I like the way that you put it, because I put it the same way. It's almost like it's just a separate operating account, almost like an entity that you can use, and you have to utilize, like, you're in control of that. It doesn't just happen overnight. So one thing I want to list here is, if you're listening to this and you're thinking like, wow, I'm not exactly sure what I have that could, even be self-directed, because there's a couple in here that one wouldn't think of. I mean, Specialized Trust Company, and you can see my, it's A Holbrook at IRASTC.com. So yes, IRAs work, traditional and Roth, tax-free profits. Also SEP and Simples. If you have a high deductible health plan, which most of us entrepreneurs do, you have an HSA, a health savings account. You can self-direct that. Many of you have children or even grandchildren. You can do a Coverdell educational savings account, and I'm very big on at financial literacy for the youth. If you have kids, Roth IRA is the most powerful tool there is for a child. If you're self-employed or a solopreneur, even if you're in W-2 world still and you're working, you have a side entity, or, and I'm using my air quotes again, side hustle, you can have a solo 401k, even in addition to your W-2 job's 401k, and self-direct the funds over here. That is a big one. So if you have any of those, or 403bs, TSPs, 457s, deferred comp, these are all types of plans that you're eligible to move. Now, how many, Eric, let me ask you this. You get this question a lot, because I know we do. Hey, I have my current employer's 401k. What can I do with that? Do you guys get that one a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, so just for those of you listening, this is a question I get a ton, especially at events. If you have a current employer's 401k, typically it's one of two things, guys. You're either 59 and a half or you left the job. If those two things happen, one of two, you can move that money wherever you want. But I'm going to give you a big but here if you are currently there and you don't have a qualifying event. Email your HR or benefits director and ask them, does our plan allow for an in-service rollover? I'll repeat, that term is an in-service rollover. Many plans do. So if they say yes, thumbs up, baby, you can self-direct those funds. It's usually a percentage of your vested balance.
Yeah.
If they say no, well, you say why and show me in writing. It's in your plan adoption agreement. But if that is not the case, a follow-up question would be, does our plan allow for a loan? Majority of 401k plans allow for a 50,000 or 50% loan, whichever's first.
Yeah.
And our self-directed plans allow for that too, a self-directed 401k. So I live in retirement world, so it's like delayed gratification all day long. That's the one instant gratification tool I know. Okay. So don't take my joy there. So if you're looking to, and I get this question a lot, hey, Amanda, I need to, this retirement stuff's great, but I need some additional cash flow today. I bet you any money there is a way that we can set that up for you. So you do have that. And majority just stop at no and take it. And it's like, no, there's a creative way. It's just finding the right teams to ask.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Amanda. So I have a couple of quick questions. I think we're going to have to, because I'm looking at the time and I'm saying, oh, well, I have so much more I want to talk about. And, but some quick question. Can I, because one of the things that we want to do with our real estate investment to maximize returns is, you can always buy property cash, but is it possible to use leverage in order to buy real estate out of my self-directed IRA?
Oh, yeah. Yes, there is. So leveraging is one of my personal favorites. It is a tool that allows you to get to your goal in a shorter amount of time. So if someone is leveraging with a retirement account, I typically want them to do it in a 401k, and there's a big tax reason why. And we can follow up because we're tight on time on that reason later. But IRS lets us do this. It has to be a non-recourse loan. So if you're sitting there in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and you have $100,000 in cash, do you buy one property outright or two leveraged? What's going to put you in a better financial position at the end of the day?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my 4-year-old knows this math.
What about, can I partner with on a real estate deal with with somebody else with my self-directed IRA?
Sure can. And there's no disqualified individuals when it comes to partnering, because partnering is, there's no commingling of funds. So just like if you and I partnered on a deal, I know you're very nice, but you're not going to let me keep all those profits, are you?
No. You have to share, Amanda.
Don't ask. Like, no. Just joking. So if you partner, you can partner with anyone, so if we wrote a deal up 50-50, 50% goes to my IRA, 50% goes to your IRA. That works. This also works to my previous statement. How can I have my cake and eat it too, Amanda? Well, let me show you how. And you don't get fat from this cake. You get profitable. You can partner your LLC or your personal funds with your IRA, so that half's go into your pocket, half's go in the IRA. I see this a lot with couples, husband and wives. Actually, I do this personally, and I know we're not talking about me, but with my kids, I get their accounts partnered and beefed up. They're not large and in charge yet, but if mama's big 401k keeps giving a percentage of those double-digit profits, guess what? By the time a couple more years here, they will be on their own 2 feet.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great idea. So they're using their their education fund for that, or is that how they investing in the deal? Or no, this is too much detail. Maybe it's too personal. Maybe.
Hop on a phone call.
Okay. So this is great too. People don't realize that. So I only have this much money into my self-directed IRA or 401k, and I have some money here, but people don't realize, no, you can combine those buy that. You can leverage, you can do all kinds of things. It's a lot more flexible than people think. So now you have, let's say you bought your turnkey rentals from us or from another vendor, and then you end up that at the end of the month, if you bought it from us, you're going to get a check from from your property management company for the net cash flow. And then where does that money go? Does that go into my account, or does that go into the self-directed IRA account?
That's a great question. And so the property management company is going to send that check directly here to Specialize to be deposited right in your account. So if you log into your account and you can see that here's your account, here is your property, you see a house in there, and then you're going to be seeing cash stacking up month after month after month. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what your ledger will look like.
Yeah. So people have to realize that this is kind of like a separate entity in a way. And then it's also tax deferred. So all the profits have to go there, as well as the expenses. What happened to expenses? I have an unexpected, water heater that needs to be replaced. Can I just write a check here, or does it have to come from the self-directed IRA?
Yeah, that's a great question. It has to come from the IRA. Remember, it's anything that comes from the bubble or back to the bubble, and the bubble's the IRA. That's how you keep it tax sheltered. So I always joke with real estate because you hear some of those gimmicks out there, and I know you guys don't do this. So I'm going to poke some fun. Your only guarantees with real estate you're going to have maintenance and vacancy to property, and you're going to have taxes and insurance. Okay, when your cash flow numbers work at the end of the day, it's like thumbs up. But yes, so and how that's done, we handle that for you. It's literally done via email. You boss us around, you say, hey, Specialize, pay for that water heater. All right, great. We're going to send out a check to Paul the plumber. Make it happen.
All right. Well, that sounds very good. Anything else that you think that people and last little nugget that you think people should be aware of with respect to the self-directed IRA?
So I might squeeze in a nugget and a half.
Okay. Good.
So, number one, if you don't have a Roth IRA or you don't have any tax-free funds in your portfolio, that is something you need to start now. Is if I ask you, would you rather live in a taxable or tax-free environment? Which would you choose?
Tax-free.
Tax-free. Okay. Well, you can't do that unless you have a tax-free account. Sorry. Like that. Yeah. That's how that works. No one's going to do that for you. That is one you have to do. It is better if you start it sooner than later. I can show you some pretty creative strategies on how to get funds to that. And the number one thing, and I still hear this all the time, everyone can have a Roth no matter how much money you make. There's something called a backdoor Roth. So that's one nugget. Mm-hmm. Number two, just pick up the phone and ask. I know there's a lot of listeners out there like, oh, I'm not sure if this, I am more than gracious with my time. And for everyone listening, I will include a link directly to my calendar. Hop on a call and just ask, hey, this is my scenario. Does this make sense for me? And I'm going to tell you straight. That's one of my, my own personal core values is, I'm blunt, like it or not. I'm going to tell you, if it makes sense or it doesn't. If it doesn't make sense, I'll show you an action plan of where in your journey, like you can probably plug and play it. But for most that are already real estate, investors, and you've taken that control, this is a vehicle that you need to have, because there's only 4 pillars. And Eric, I know you've heard this before. How do you earn it? How do you keep it? How do you grow it? How do you protect it? I'm team keep it, and I show you the vehicles. I can show you some strategies on how to grow it. And this man has the other answers on how to grow it.
So thank you for those 2 things. Also, I want to say that with Martel Turnkey, we work with the best in the industry, and we try to find the best in the industry. And I think that Amanda, has demonstrated again that she's extremely knowledgeable. So if you have any questions and you want some answers around the self-directed IRA, can I do this? She just mentioned a couple of retirement accounts that could be converted into self-directed IRA. The list is a lot longer than what she let it to be. She's going to simplify a lot of the processes that we have discussed, make it super easy for you to convert just about any retirement account into a self-directed IRA so that you can invest in real estate and achieve financial freedom. Amanda, thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. You're making me blush. I appreciate it. And I'm honored
Yep.
and bless you all for taking the time and taking the initiative to, continue your financial freedom journey. I'm looking to be a part of the team.
Thank you. And we're going to put, obviously you have your contact information here on your background, but we're also going to include that in the show notes, as well as the link that you mentioned to schedule the appointment.
Fantastic.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you for listening to Break Away from the Rat Race with your host, Eric Martel. If you want to share your story and experience with our listeners, please message us on Facebook at Break Away from the Rat Race. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and our podcast on iTunes.